Hi everyone, welcome to Privacy Ninja's weekly podcast series. In today's session, we have with us Dexter, who is the CTO of Anti-Hack, a cybersecurity firm, and myself, Andy, from Privacy Ninja. In today's podcast, we'll be talking about the enforcement cases from PDPC, on the businesses in Singapore that either suffered a data breach or got issued warnings or penalties by the PDPC. Today is the first time we're going to start on the monthly enforcement cases, and we're starting from this month on. Every month, we're going to talk about each month's enforcement case, data breaches, or warnings issued. Hi, Dex.
Hello.
I'll now be sharing my screen, and we're going to go through the different organizations and what each of them suffered and how, they could have better protected or prevented those data breaches from happening. Are you able to see my screen?
Yep, can see your screen already.
All right. So we're only going to go through the enforcement cases for the month of August. And in our next podcast, we're going to talk about the enforcement cases in September. So actually, in the month of August, there were 8 organizations that were found, in breach of the PDPA. So for those who don't understand the term PDPA, the PDPA stands for the Personal Data Protection Act. And if you see the word PDPC, PDPC is the data protection regulator in Singapore, and they are known as the Personal Data Protection Commission. There were financial penalties amounting to $47,000. And this amount was shared amongst a few organizations, namely the Central Depository, MDIS Corporation, and the Singapore Accountancy Commission. Breaching against the protection obligations, there were warnings issued to few other organizations like Zero1, IP Tribe, MCST, FWD Singapore, Ginip Salon, and Actitude. Why were they issued warnings? Because they failed to put in place reasonable security arrangements to prevent unauthorized disclosure of personal data that they were governing. All right, I'll now be going through each organization and what happened, that got PDPC to issue either a financial penalty or issued warnings or directions. Let's take a look at the first case by the Singapore Accountancy Commission. So what was their breach? Their breach was the protection obligation. Under the PDPA, there are 9 obligations excluding the DNC provisions. So for the Singapore Accountancy Commission, because of a breach of the protection, they were issued a penalty of $5,000. So Dex, are you interested to hear why this happened?
Yep, so why?
All right. Let's go through a few points, right? The main points. So actually, there was a folder containing personal data of more than 6,500 Singapore Chartered Accountant qualification program personnel and those candidates, which was mistakenly enclosed inside emails, and these emails were sent out to 41 unintended recipients. This incident happened in the month of June 2019 to October 2019. And inside these folders, there was personal data and sensitive information like their names, NRIC numbers, their date of birth, contact details, education and employment information, and also their Singapore Chartered Accountant qualification exam results. Well, can you imagine, all this information was sent out to 41 unintended recipients.
Yeah, so I think it's very common nowadays. Employees are sending wrong email to wrong recipients. I think this also recently happened to one of our clients, which is a school, where the admin actually sent personal details of all the students to everybody in the class. So that was also a breach in PDPA. And this nowadays getting more and more common. I think later down, another case also same thing is a employee that sent wrong email to wrong recipients as well. Yeah. So what do you think?
Yeah, I think this is happening on a more increasing basis, but what to do, right? Organizations don't have in place secondary steps or processes to double check. Or if they're using automated systems, if employees just rely on the software or the system to send it out without doing proper checks or without updating on a regular basis, that's when the information already goes out, right? And as you would know, the PDPA is a complaints-based regime. So the moment anyone complains to PDPC, right, they are obligated to investigate every complaint and to contact the organization to ask how did this happen? Okay, is this valid? Okay, please justify. Okay, why the complainee or complainant is making this complaint to us. Okay, then if the organization is not able to show proper accountability, or they do not even have a data protection officer in place to handle the query or the investigation questions by PDPC, you can be sure that any penalty that the PDPC is going to impose on this organization is going to be higher, okay, than normal. Okay, so let's take a look. So that the Singapore Accountancy Commission, right, they send out this folder containing 6,541 personnel sensitive information to 41 unintended recipients. And after that, what happened? The organization admitted that there was a lack of robust processes to protect those personal data when sending out emails. And also the staff involved in sending out of those emails were not even informed of the organization's personal data protection policies. Okay, the company or the organization did not inculcate this as part of their onboarding training when employees were going through their induction training. There were no second tier or supervisory checks, no technical measures in place to reduce the risk of sending any content with personal data to the unintended parties. So Dex, what do you think could have better been done by the organization before they started? They could have sent out this email with the personal data, or even any email for that matter.
I think it's all about having proper training and also SOPs and policies in place. I feel this time the data protection officer did not enforce properly to all his employees in the organization. And they said that they undertook some training sessions. I think it wasn't sufficient, and it definitely did not cover these email cases. That's why this person actually sent the wrong email to wrong recipients. I'm very sure that this wasn't covered in their training.
Yep, and looking at the penalty of $5,000, to be honest, personally, I'm a little bit surprised that the amount of personal data, 6,541 individuals, okay, yes, even though it's only sent out to 41 unintended recipients, but because of the amount of such personnel's data being unauthorized, okay, disclosed to unintended parties, that they only issued a penalty of $5,000. Compared to other cases, they got accidentally sent out sensitive data or personal data to unintended parties, and they were offered or given even higher penalties by the PDPC.
They are lucky because the 41 recipients are probably 41 chartered accountants. So being an official licensed chartered accountants, they are already bounded by all these NDA and stuff. They won't definitely leak out to their friends.
Yeah.
So that is their only saving grace. And nowadays I think that so far in the minimum fines are $5,000. So I think that is the lowest we ever seen. There's no other, like, it's either warning or $5,000 and above. There isn't less than that, right?
If I never remember wrongly, I think there was one case of $1,000 to some tuition center. Happened quite a while back. Yeah.
Yeah.
But typically we will see, yes, it all starts at 5,000 and above. And we even have ranges of 20,000, 50,000, 90,000. But it depends on the severity of the breach. But what I think most importantly on how PDPC determines the financial penalty to award to an organization is based on the accountability, right? The processes, the practices they have in place, how much are they able to show that they really prioritize the security of the personal data that they collect. So I always tell clients that a, a professional DPO, okay, that you put in place in your organization will help you prevent all this, because he should be the one to boil down to the processes, make sure all documentations and policies are there to govern how you even collect, who gets access to the data, where you store it, even how you store it, and who you disclose to. And then this is just for policy wise. And then we touch about the security of how we store those data is another matter. The Singapore Accountancy Commission undertook remediation actions, like sending their employees for cybersecurity and personal data protection training courses,
Yeah.
and also, a revision of their policies and procedures.
They are lucky that they can say that they have sent for training and show proof that they have sent their employees for training. I think if they did not send for training, I think the fine is gonna be definitely closer to $20,000 range.
Yeah, I would also think so. So that's why the remediation action, post-incident mitigation after a data breach is very important. If you're able to show your dedication and accountability to PDPC, right? We have SOPs in place. Immediately after a data breach happened, this is what we did. We sent our guys for training. We identified the issue. We came up with a pipeline on how to address these lapses moving forward so that they won't even happen. I think that's what PDPC wants to see.
Yep. So guys, $5,000. As you can see, our outsourced DPO as a service is it's almost half the price of this on an average, or even lower, 1,500. Yeah. So do check us out on our website.
Yeah, we'll attach the link to our outsourced DPO service in the footnotes under the video. Okay, let's touch on another case, right? The next case. Okay, there was a breach of the protection obligation by Zero1, their digital telco, and a company called IP Tribe. So what happened? Okay, they were not issued financial penalty, okay, but they were issued a warning. Okay, so invoices containing the personal data of their subscribers had been emailed again to unintended recipients.
Yep. Getting more and more common.
Yeah, and what was contained in these invoices, right? In each invoice, there was the name, address, subscriber ID, their mobile number, even their mobile charges, and the core details of any international call, right? All these were stated in the invoice. So IPT, okay, also known as the IP Tribe, okay, they ran the first platform for Zero1, okay, including generating and sending out those monthly emails to all Zero1 subscribers. IP Tribe then subcontracted the provision of their billing system within the first platform to a company called OpenNet Telecom. Right, this platform was deployed in August 2018. Okay, so why did this incident even happen? Okay, how could they have generated and sent out these emails of the invoices to wrong recipients? Okay, this was caused by something called the batch ID duplication. So the batch ID is basically a unique number assigned or tagged to each subscriber. So this is how the company can identify who are their customers, who are each subscriber. Okay, this will be tagged to their name and email address. Okay, but because of a coding error, okay, not all the previously migrated data, okay, have been deleted. So then, upon migration, the new platform, right, the second platform, failed to recognize the batch IDs, okay, that were not deleted, and reissued the same batch IDs. So then this batch ID duplication resulted in the new platform emailing out 118 invoices to the wrong addresses. Wow, I cannot even imagine how this could have happened. That means they probably didn't do enough testing.
Yep. There's no proper penetration test, there's no proper UAT testing, no source code review. I'm very sure they never do the proper development cycle. Yeah, software development cycle, I mean. Yeah.
Okay, speaking of this, which brings us to our next point, is that yes, before a new IT system or a change in the IT system can go live, of course, pre-launch testing is very important to determine if the system can run properly or as expected. However, in this case, their pre-launch testing, the migration scenario was not catered for. Right? They didn't foresee this issue would happen, or they probably missed out on this. So only 2 test accounts were used to check that the new platform, the second platform, could generate and email the invoices to the correct parties. Okay, furthermore, the processes to ensure that the new platform would issue unique batch IDs were inadequate. So, fortunately for them, there were no directions issued to them because they were able to show, okay, both the Zero1 and IP Tribe were able to show that they took, okay, quick remediation actions to address the gaps in their security arrangements respectively. So they were not issued any financial penalty.
They're really very lucky, man. But I think a lot of companies out there are now going digital nowadays because of COVID-19. A lot of them are just finding the cheapest way. They are outsourcing to India. their Indian developers are definitely not going to do a penetration test for them, also not going to do proper UAT testing, and just going to faster cut corners and launch the product and deliver to you.
Right. Yes, I would agree to a large extent. Is that businesses will definitely try to find cheaper options, right? They'll get different quotations. Who can do the same job for them at a cheaper price? Definitely, they will want to save some cash and go for that option. So popular development houses are based in India, in Vietnam. But again, under the PDPA, okay, when you want to disclose or transfer personal data out of Singapore, which in this scenario for a development case, right, your developers, if they're based overseas, they have access to your database at all times, they have access to your system backend, because they build the system for you, they will have your passwords, and continuously, when they develop or enhance your platform, they have access to all the data inside. So then, actually under the PDPA, you need to sign, okay, contracts and agreements, getting them to acknowledge and inform you that they comply to PDPA's standard in Singapore or even a higher standard. So it's not just, oh, the price is cheaper overseas, I outsource to them. Compared to a Singapore development house, I would save 30 to even 50%. But then you forget, okay, you also have to be compliant to the PDPA. So next time when anything goes wrong, right, you're covered. But it's often something that's missed out.
Yeah, for all you guys who don't know that we actually do provide software development services as well. So if you guys got any softwares that needs to be developed, mobile app, website, we are able to do it for you, and we definitely be able to do a pen test for you guys as well and make sure it's secure.
Yeah, and speaking of pen tests, we are the most, I would say, affordable and competitive priced service provider in the market. You can check out our website and contact us anytime to see. You'll be surprised, right, at our prices. Okay, let's touch on the next case. This is by Actitude. So their breach was also of the protection obligation. Okay, likewise, they were not issued a financial penalty. They only get a warning. Okay, so who is this Actitude Private Limited? They are a social media platform marketing agency. Okay, so they have a web page that will allow, okay, users or individuals interested in joining the organization to upload their resume. And for each resume that you upload, okay, a file will be created with a unique URL. Okay, and this will be stored in their database. So between the period of August 2018 to October 2019, so just slightly more than a year, okay, over 160 individuals uploaded their resume. Okay, and the company Actitude, okay, they admitted after the investigation, okay, after the complaint, that they did not put in place controls to restrict access to the resume files. So basically, the URLs generated, okay, by the system could also be manipulated to access resume files uploaded by different individuals. So this would be kind of like a directory listing whereby it's open, it's public. You manipulate the URL link, you can see other pages or other files. But in this case, it's personal data, it's sensitive data. They are the resume of other users. I think we do encounter this a lot of time for a lot of websites. Right, Dexter?
Yep. A lot of these companies do not do proper penetration tests. A lot of them, some even just do VA. A lot of them do not even know what's the difference between VA and penetration tests. VA is actually vulnerability assessment. So a lot of these companies actually just use automated tools and just do a scan and give you a 40-page report. But they actually did not use a real hacker to try to penetrate the system. So a lot of these companies are actually don't even, they think that they are secure, but they are not even secure. Yeah, and some of them even worse, they use like junior pen testers on projects or even students. So all these are, they are actually not experienced enough to do proper security testing. Yeah. So you guys can come to us for penetration testing. We are actually very affordable. We start from $5,000 only for penetration tests. And we believe in making cybersecurity affordable for all SMEs in Singapore. So our target market is all SMEs. We want to make sure everybody can afford a penetration test, a DPO in Singapore. Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah, why you go and tell everyone the pricing? They're not like that. Other service providers, they're going to hear our pricing $5,000. You're going to spoil the market. They're gonna come after you already.
It's okay. I will do Google Ads on $5,000 in the banner as well.
All right. Okay. So yeah, like what Dexter said, okay, they did not conduct vulnerability scanning, right? This is different from a full VAPT. Even just vulnerability scanning, okay, they did not perform such an exercise, okay, as part of their pre-launch testing. Okay, neither did they conduct periodic security reviews. So actually, there is a guide for SMEs when building their website. Okay, this PDF guide is available by PDPC. In fact, it's a very good checklist, and we highly encourage all businesses, be it if you already have a website, a web platform, or for businesses who are thinking to launch their website, to read through this guide. Okay, we can put this guide, okay, into the link in the footnotes below. So in this guide, you will see that the PDPC highly encourage, okay, in fact, it's almost mandated, I would say. It's a must do, okay, for you to perform vulnerability scanning, even penetration testing on your website before it goes live. Okay, so this will prevent any attempts by hackers, okay, to uh, extract your data from a database or even deface a website. Okay, so this will prevent you from, or rather minimize the risk of you having a data breach. Okay, going back to the case. So these URLs, okay, that every user, when they upload their resume, they have a URL. Okay, this URL can be manipulated, and then basically any user can have access to the resume of other individuals. Okay, maybe in their consideration, they wanted it to be or they wanted it to be like in a certain order, so easy for them to access or find the data of or resume of someone. But in doing so, when you can manipulate such URL, okay, or the link, then it's also very easy for the hacker to go and get those data. So the deputy commissioner, okay, for the PDPC, therefore found that the organization did not adopt reasonable steps to protect the personal data under their care, okay, against unauthorized disclosure. Okay, they were issued a warning. Okay, no directions were given by the PDPC to the organization, because the organization was able to again show that they had taken action to address the gaps in its security arrangement. So again, I would say a very lucky case.
Yeah, they're really very, very lucky.
You can see different cases. Some get issued penalties. Some don't get issued penalties. Some only have warnings. Okay, but if you realize what is the similarity, those that were not issued financial penalties or even no directions required was because when the breach happened, okay, very, very quickly the organization was able to show, okay, preemptiveness. Okay, they took initiative and did the necessary action to address the gaps, the lapses. So then PDPC was satisfied with their answers, their response, and the pipeline they had in place to mitigate all these issues. So what can we learn from the first three cases already? Is that if you suffer a data breach, which I hope you do not, okay, what you must do is take initiative, immediately go and the needful to address the issue, do the forensics, think of the action plan, how this happened, how this could be mitigated in future. Okay, come up with such plan, get management to approve. Okay, also inform PDPC. Okay, inform the PDPC and also any other relevant stakeholders like the data subjects, okay, the victims involved, and also if it's a cyber hack, okay, you may want to inform the Singapore Police Force, you may want to inform Cybersecurity Agency. Okay, take the initiative, contact all these authorities so that they know you're on the ball, you have your SOPs in place, you have a data breach management, okay, your management plan. So then if they're happy, they can see that, oh, this company is always on the ball, something happened, they immediately went to work on it. That's where you help them better determine if they should issue you a financial penalty or just a warning.